Hey everyone, I'm Haley and welcome back to What the Film School, and in today's video I'm going to talk about why I don't have a short film from film school. A little while back on this channel, I filmed a video about how not to make a student film. It was basically me kind of sharing my story from the first time I did try to make a short film in film school and how badly it failed. Making a short film seemed a lot harder, or ended up being a lot harder than I had anticipated. So I ended up only being able to shoot a few scenes of that short film, and then I never ended up completing it. So I'm here to talk about that side of things a little bit, why I felt like I was getting stopped along the way in making this short film, and basically how I feel moving forward, and if you're in film school again, kind of how you can overcome these feelings too, if you're really invested in making a short film for yourself. So in that previous video I'm just gonna touch on it a little bit before I move forward, that basically I was a sophomore when I was trying to make this first short film, and it was only my second or third semester at NYU. I really didn't know a lot of people to reach out to for help. I was trying not to spend as much money, but every time I turned a corner there was more money I had to be spent, or some piece of paperwork that I didn't fill out. So again, it was just a lot of things kind of bundled up. Eventually the safety people kind of pushed my film off or shut it down. They basically told me either you can shoot it in a couple weeks, you can shoot it over the summer, or you can just film what you can and then call it good for the class, because we understand like a lot of things happen that kind of stop people in their paths. So it ended up being that I chose not to shoot again in the summer, that I chose to kind of keep it at the few scenes that I shot and then just learn from the mistake and move forward and maybe try to complete the film later on down the line. It's been actually very hard for me coming out of film school and not having a completed film, because although a lot of people actually don't have completed films, there seems to be a greater number to me that do have completed ones, because the idea for most people is that you're graduating from film school with kind of a thesis film, which is like the very last project that you do your senior year. One of the reasons I did not make a short thesis film for my final project is because I did not actually take the final level of movie production. So this was going to be another one of those short film production classes that would like give you a small amount of money, you have your budget, you find your crew, you shoot your film, and it's done by the end of the year. What ended up happening and why I didn't end up taking that class is because although I was a little bit interested in it, I knew that it was actually really competitive, because the way that NYU does it for those thesis films is that you basically have to pitch your idea to the class and to your professors, and then only a short few number of people get selected to actually make their short films. So there's like a big chance that you're not going to get picked as one of those people, and then you're just kind of left on your own. So that was a really big turnoff for me, and I didn't really want to risk it because I knew there was maybe some other classes I could take where I could do smaller productions instead of having to do one big one. The other thing that kind of roadblocked me was I actually had a job. So by the end of my sophomore year, which kind of coincided with the time I was doing that first production class, I got a job working about 20 to 25 hours a week. I was shooting and editing videos pretty much every day for this job. I would go to class and then I'd go straight to work and straight home, do my homework, and go to sleep. Between all of the things I was doing during the week, I felt like I did not have enough energy in myself. I might have had the time, but I just didn't feel like I was ready or prepared to push and put all of my time and energy into making a short film, because what I found out from film school is that it really does take a lot of work to make something that's only like going to be a 10 to 15 minute short. So I think knowing that and having to do work and do school and try to keep my social life going and try to keep myself like afloat basically was a lot to manage. I kind of used my job as an excuse, unfortunately. I mean, even though I was shooting videos from it, and even though coming out of school I could say I shot 100 videos for a company, that seems like it's a big deal, but it's hard because everyone says, oh, but you don't have a short film, so you don't really have anything to show anybody that's not a professional thing or something you did for a company. That kind of made me a little upset as well, that I wish I had taken time off of work, or realized that I could have taken time off of work to actually shoot that short film, and not just because I felt like I needed to do it for the people that were asking for it, but I also genuinely wanted to finish the short film that I had started sophomore year. It was just all these things kind of getting in my way that made me feel like I wasn't able to complete it. The other thing that I feel like kind of pushed me away from shooting a short film in film school was just the fact that there was a lot of pressure to make it really good. So back in high school, I would shoot a lot of short films with my friends. I would just literally take my really small camera, really small tripod, and just grab whoever was available and shoot at my house. I didn't really care about making it perfect because I knew that, I had the small number of resources available to me, therefore I was just gonna kind of have fun with it. And when I got to film school, it seemed like everyone was so serious about making these really like gorgeous looking, well produced, really well executed films, and I was intimidated a little bit, and that's kind of what stopped me mentally, was feeling like if I have the time to make something that's not going to look that great, there doesn't seem to be as much point, because the point kind of seems to be that I want to make a full short film like everybody else is doing and make it look really high budget, really good. And all these roadblocks that I hit, as I mentioned in my previous video, is just all these things having to do with money. Like the locations were extremely expensive because people didn't want to just hand out locations to me for free, especially where I was trying to shoot. And people that I was looking to have on crews with me, they were shooting on everyone else's crews on the weekends, so it cut down to it that everyone was booked up and I didn't have anyone that I felt like I could turn to because I didn't really know any other people. So again, kind of hitting these points along the way kind of deterred me from moving forward again with it later on in school, because it's always seemed like I was going to hit those same roadblocks again. I don't know if this is true of any other city, but at least again from my experience, New York takes filming things very seriously. So even if you are a film student and you're walking into locations seeing like, we need this place for free, or we need a discount, or, you know, I'm just a student, yada yada, sometimes they, you know, they'll have mercy on you and they will give you those discounts, they will give it to you for free. But what I ran into was not that easy. I had to pay a lot of money. I think the location I was looking at was over $1,000 for a few days, which looking back on it now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but as a student who was working and trying to go to school and trying to do all this at the same time, that just felt like a really big chunk of money to me that I wasn't sure I wanted to invest in just a small student film. Maybe it's the best it could possibly be and I submit it to festivals and get exposure. That's like best case scenario. Unfortunately too, a lot of my friends that did end up shooting their short films for the same kind of class, they never ended up finishing their films, so they didn't end up editing them, they're just kind of sitting with the footage. So that's kind of the risk of spending all that money on a project. Moving forward, I still love making short films. I love directing them. It's harder for me to work on a set if I'm not directing it, because most of the time I prefer to be kind of managing my own projects. So if I'm working on a set and I'm having to do all the heavy lifting, I'm a little less eager to do that than if I'm, you know, the creative brain that's kind of calling the shots on things. So throughout my time in film school, it's not to say that I didn't shoot anything from that point on. I actually, again, shot a lot of stuff for work, so I have a lot of professional videos to show. I also have a lot of mini projects as well, which is, I think, something that people kind of overlook when they think about film school. Because you think of film school and you imagine that you're making movies, when in actuality, there's a large chunk of it that is dedicated to documentaries and new form content. Like, I have friends that have shot VR videos, like 360 videos, and I myself shot like commercials and music videos. Other projects like that I think hold a lot of merit too. I saw a lot of really great projects coming out of film school that weren't short films at all. I think that's a really big thing to consider as well. If you're wanting to go to film school but you actually really don't want to major in movies or film production, then there's so many other options. Like, I think most universities will have alternative options to doing just film. Like, if you're interested in making TV shows, there's plenty of things out there for that. If you're looking to just do all that new form content like music videos, there should be some classes out there available, whether or not they're online or in the classroom. Definitely take a look at those kinds of resources. See if you can find a school that you're looking to go to that has those options if you want to move down that path. And don't feel the pressure to make a short film if you don't want to. And if you do want to make a short film, again, take the time to plan it out. If it is for a class or if it isn't, try to find what resources you have, who you can reach out to. My best advice, honestly, don't let the stresses stop you like they stopped me. If money is a concern for you, then again, you can still ask around to find who can donate things to you, who can sponsor you. Maybe you do some crowdfunding, or you ask your friends and family to help out with just a little bit of money as well. There's always options to avoid these roadblocks. I do have a little bit of regret not finishing that short film, quite honestly, and it is something that is always at the back of my mind that I think that I'm going to complete one day, and it is a goal to complete it. I guess at this point in my life, as not being a student anymore, whatever film I make moving forward wouldn't be a student film, so that would be something that I could keep as more of a professional work sample, or something that I could put online, get a little bit of exposure. If you have any questions for me about the process of making a short film in film school, definitely go ahead, leave those below. I'd love to help any of you guys out if you're struggling right now, or if you're worried about the prospects of going to film school. And also, if you've already been through film school and you've had a similar struggle to me with making a short film, or even if you haven't been to film school and you've just struggled in general, go ahead, leave those comments below too, so that we can get some advice. We can all kind of help each other out here, because definitely we want to be able to make short films. We want to be able to make our projects happen, because it always makes me really sad when I see people that put their films kind of back on the shelf and they don't touch them again. ultimately that's not what I want to be doing. I want to be able to make my films and help you guys make your films as well. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification to get notified every time I post. Check out my social media, my website, check out filmcourse.org for all the information on how you can get involved with my film festival. And also, don't forget to check back soon for more videos. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.